All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Divine Speaker. Last time we woke up in the middle of the night to Fawn's house being on fire. And this time we're gonna deal with that situation. Cool, let's hop into it.
Fawn, come on, please! We need to go! It isn't safe here!
There's two of them. Shouldn't it be only one? I didn't hear anything about two.
Is that a voice? My ears perked up at the sound of talking. Someone else is here. I couldn't work out which direction the voice was coming from through the crackling and popping of the flames. I tightened my grip on Fawn's arm. He's still just staring. The smoke was beginning to get thicker, and the longer we stood there, the harder it was to see. It's getting pretty difficult to breathe.
Where's our other guy?
I've lost visuals on him. Nothing good ever comes from working with the likes of him anyway.
Ooh, drama. There's more than one of them. This is bad. If I can't get Fawn to move now, we'll either be cooked alive or found by whoever's looking for us.
Fawn, listen to me. I think whoever caused this fire is still here. We really have to go, now.
I didn't.
I grabbed his shoulders and turned him to face me.
Please, Fawn.
Okay.
I gave his arm a little pull, and this time he followed behind me easily, but his eyes were empty. He didn't say another word. The falling embers were lighting the grass around us on fire faster and faster. Every direction was getting completely engulfed. If we don't find a way quickly, thank the gods it isn't windy out. We'd only made it a short distance before Fawn came to a halt.
What's wrong?
There, to the left.
The left? My eyes followed his in the same direction. I could see two figures in the distance, approaching Fawn's home. It doesn't look like they've seen us yet. It seems like they're looking around the burning shrubs, searching. They must be looking for us. Fawn's house looked ready to collapse, and the fire still burned as strong, if not stronger, than before. Yet they still searched. We need to be as far away from this as possible, right now. Risking their lives like that. Are we that important to them?
Shouldn't you two be running? Maybe.
Who? Another voice, different from the ones I heard earlier, shot out between the sounds of crackling fire. While Fawn and I were preoccupied with watching the other two, we didn't notice another coming from the right of the tree line. The third person came into view. He was close. Close enough that if I took a few steps forward, I'd be able to touch him. My first thought was to ask for help, but a tug on my hand stopped me in my tracks.
Wait. He's armed. You noticed.
The man chuckled faintly. In his hand, what was that? It looked like some kind of rope. That's the least of our worries by the looks of it. In his other hand, he held a dagger. This is dangerous. I think we should...
You know, it was way too easy to follow you out here. You don't exactly try and cover up your tracks, do you?
To be fair, did Rain know that he was supposed to? Did Rain know that he was being followed?
If I was in your shoes, that would be the first thing I'd do.
Yes, well...
Guess we can't all be as wise as me, though.
Follow? Fawn pulled at my hand again until I was standing directly behind him, placing himself between us.
When they told me I'd be tracking some guy out into the forest, I was a little worried. But you know what?
What?
The thrill of catching you here is worth it.
He took a step forwards. Sure. I flinched. A cold shiver ran down my back, and I could feel myself covered in sweat. Have I heard that voice before? I searched desperately through the thick smoke. He was tall and slender, but most of his figure was obscured. red hair? The only thing I could make out on his face was a sly grin. I could hear Fawn whispering to me, desperation in his voice.
Rain, we need to run the...
A loud creaking noise came from behind us as the first part of Fawn's house began to crumble to the forest floor. The other two men were still at the base of the tree, but the debris just missed them. They continued their search, oblivious to what was happening over here. Fawn tightened his grip on my hand. I wouldn't be surprised if it bruised later.
Fawn, I think that could be...
Oh, time for marshmallows.
Rain. Rain. Wake up.
I like that the achievement detail was also get caught in some unfortunate arson. Like, oh, okay. Anyway, yes.
Safety. Find him.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Far from here.
Mm-hmm. Where am I? I'm on the ground. Why? The fire? That man? Fawn. Fawn!
Fawn!
Rain.
When I sat up, the world around me span. Fawn was sprawled out on the ground not far from me. I crawled over to him. He didn't look hurt, but he seemed pretty out of it.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. I just... what? Where am I? What just happened?
He seemed a little confused, but I couldn't blame him. I'm confused too. I just hope he didn't hit his head. I checked over his body. He has a few scrapes, but it doesn't look like he's bleeding. Phew. Slowly, I glanced back towards Fawn's house. Well, where it used to be, but now it's just a mountain of debris. What exactly just happened? It was falling, but then... all I remember is a loud bang.
I think it exploded. Did you have something explosive in there?
Have you seen how many things are in Fawn's house? I would be surprised if he didn't. The ground and trees around us were lightly charred, but the worst of the flames had gone down. Only embers were left sizzling in the ground. My throat felt hoarse from the smoke. Wish we had something to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everything that Fawn had is gone. Everything he owned, collected, loved.
I'm so sorry.
What am I meant to do now? This is all my fault. I'm being punished.
It's not. Those people.
What's left for me now?
His question hung in the air, lingering. I don't know what I can say to him. What can you say to someone that just lost everything? Nothing. There's nothing I can do to make this better. It makes it even more painful.
My friends, where are they?
I'm sorry, Fawn. I wish I could do something.
Sitting here isn't going to solve anything, though. I pushed myself onto my feet, swaying a little at first. The smoke definitely went to my head.
I'm going to see if anything survived the...
Do you think?
Fawn glanced up at me from where he was seated on the forest floor.
The other people? I don't know.
I'll come with you.
I held my hand out to Fawn and pulled him up beside me. This is just too awful. I looked sideways at Fawn, glad to have him by my side. I don't know exactly what we'll find over there, and I'm worried about those strange men. Are they still nearby, or... We walked back towards the smoldering pile of wood where Fawn's house once stood. I could see Fawn's treasures littered about on the ground, most of it burnt to a crisp and barely recognizable. I crouched down to the floor and pushed through the ashes and rubble. I picked up a little wooden toy, untouched by the fire somehow. An animal. A small, sad smile came to his face when I held it out to him.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I feel like if I wasn't here, none of this would have ever happened to you.
I can't handle this guilt. My chest feels heavy, like it's slowly consuming me. I'm the first person he's ever seen out here, and he showed me kindness when he didn't even have to. Look what he got in return. His whole life is ruined in one night. Everything he's built up, everything he loves, all gone.
No, it's not your fault. I don't want you to blame yourself. This is because of me.
Excuse me, Rain? I don't know how much longer I can hold back my tears. We worked together to move some of the debris until we finally made out some scraps of fabric, all melted to the lifeless bodies underneath them. As disgusting as it was, I couldn't look away. They were people too, even if what happened to Fawn was probably their fault.
I guess they didn't survive.
The two men were half crushed underneath the rubble. They didn't stand a chance. I hope for their sake they died quickly when the tree collapsed rather than slowly in the flames. Fawn put his arm around my shoulders and turned me away from the gruesome scene.
Don't look anymore. It'll only make it worse.
You're right. Did you see the third one?
I'm not sure. Everything's so burnt.
He was standing so close to us. I could have almost touched him. He might have survived. If he's alive, is he still in the area? Or did he flee after seeing what happened to his companions? I don't know. I scanned the area. Nothing. Wait. I caught a glimpse of red between the greenery. What is that?
Wait, look over there.
I walked towards the vibrant color and pulled back the charred branches that stood in the way. My breath caught in my throat. Slumped up against a tree trunk was a man. Long, flowing red hair, eyebrows furrowed, in pain. It wasn't the first time I'd seen him, either. A man that I had bumped into only a few days ago. The one that told me about the speaker's archives. A man from Aurelia Cavella.
No way.
I heard a gasp from behind me. Neither of us expected to find him so easily.
Shit.
Thousands of questions swirled around in my head, but now wasn't the time. He looked hurt. Slowly and quietly, I inched closer to him. From a distance, I could see he had some cuts and bruises, but they didn't look too bad. There were scars on his stomach and arms, too, but they looked old. How did he get these? I knelt down beside him. Right now, whatever he did or said doesn't matter. He just needs help. I started at his legs and worked my way up. No injuries here. Stomach seems fine, apart from a bruise or two. I looked back at his face. Eyes that were previously closed in pain now bore into me. He didn't look happy. I'm too close. Barely a second went by before a blade was pressed against my throat. I froze. What do I do? He pushed the knife against my skin, and I felt a warm, stinging sensation. Ouch. Followed by the feeling of something wet running down my throat. I swallowed, but my mouth felt completely dry. His eyes hadn't left mine this whole time. They were watching me, almost as if he was judging my every movement.
You're injured. Let me...
You think I need help from someone like you?
Yes. He smirked at me, though it was obvious he was still in pain.
I'd die before letting a pipsqueak like you...
Mid-sentence, he started coughing abruptly. A loud, throaty cough. Now's my chance.
Gotcha!
Before I could do anything, Fawn came up beside me and knocked the blade right out of the man's hand. My hand went instantly to my throat. I was met with a wet sensation, but the cut didn't feel very deep. The stinging was only mild. When the injured man started reaching for something else, I noticed red all over the hand he just coughed into. Wait. Something else? I quickly grabbed both of his arms. They both felt toned and strong. He was definitely fit and much stronger than me, but his injuries must have weakened him a little.
Fawn, see if he has any other weapons.
1, 2, 3, 6 other daggers, and a whip.
You're well equipped.
Well, I was. Now I'm not equipped at all.
I let go of his arms. He was barely fighting against me now. I peered into his face again. A line of red trickled out from the corner of his mouth.
Which parts hurt?
I'm not much of a doctor, but there must be something I can do.
Which parts hurt? God, where to start? My legs, my back, my stomach, my throat. But you know what hurts the most?
I already made this joke the first time that I played the demo, but being so close, having so much to say, and watching you walk away, like, I need to do it every single time that I play this, apparently. I looked at him eagerly, ready to try and help.
Did I have to see your dumb fucking face this close up? Get away from me.
He smiled to himself. I guess he thinks that's really funny. How does anyone deal with people like this?
Excuse me. We're just trying to help you.
What's that? I'm sorry, I don't speak mouse.
Oh, sorry.
Don't say sorry. He's being rude to you.
I love him so much.
And you obviously need help, and we're going to give it to you, whether you like it or not.
I'd like to see you try.
How unappreciative can you get? Why is he so opposed to help that he obviously needs? The other day, what I did to Fawn, maybe I could try that again. I don't owe this asshole anything, but if I could take away just a little bit of his pain instead of it all. I don't know how to, but it couldn't hurt to try, right? Fawn's already stripped him of his weapons, plus he's injured, so it shouldn't be too dangerous to touch him, right? Last time all I did was touch Fawn, then it happened. I reached my hand out towards him. His arm was covered in cuts and bruises.
Touch me, and see what happens to you.
Sounds like an empty threat to me. What are you gonna do?
He's struggling just to keep his eyes on me, so I doubt he'll do anything now. I ignored his words and lightly touched my fingertips to his wrist. A flash of light, booming voices. Not. His skin felt warm, but nothing happened. It worked last time.
What the hell are you?
He started to cough violently again, more blood trickling from the corners of his mouth. Any resistance he had before was gone. He didn't even shake my hand off of him.
Are you okay?
Get lost.
Just let us help you.
His eyes slowly narrowed before they fully closed.
Fawn? Why did he close his eyes? Is he okay? What do we do?
Fawn rushed over to my side, tossing the daggers and whip to the ground. He felt at the man's throat, carefully. All I could do was watch. I've never felt so useless.
He's alive. But he's obviously pretty badly injured. We need to get him somewhere we can check and clean his wounds.
In times like this, Fawn seems like a different person. Dependable, strong, unlike me.
Why didn't it work?
Fawn looked at me for a moment, thinking.
I don't know. Maybe you just can't control it yet. Maybe it was a miracle.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Last time the voices told me to help you. This time they were silent.
Obviously, he is just not the person that you should help.
Anyway,
Carefully, I lifted the man onto my back. He's so much taller than me, so it's kind of awkward.
Fawn, can you gather his belongings? We can carry him over to the river and check him out.
Yes.
He scurried around, picking up the weapons that lay discarded on the forest floor.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Fawn took one last moment to stare in the direction of his destroyed house. But only one, before turning away and following after me. Lugging this guy across the forest was no easy feat. Fawn ended up having to help me with his legs since they were dragging on the ground and he was groaning and shifting around every time he got caught on a bush. How unappreciative. What a troublesome guy. Eventually, we reached the river. What should have been a 15-minute walk slowly became an hour-long struggle. I placed him down on the ground carefully, with a sigh.
That took a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, he's way too tall.
The redhead was still out cold. This is our chance to check his wounds properly without him complaining. We looked over his exposed arms and stomach again, but there was nothing life-threatening. Fawn got to work with cleaning the dirt from those wounds while I checked elsewhere. His face, fine. He's actually got pretty nice features, but you can barely tell past his awful expression. Legs don't seem to have any problems. I feel quite muscular, too. I felt them for a moment before moving on. I looked again at the small trickle of blood coming out of his mouth.
I guess I should check his mouth?
I glanced at Fawn for confirmation. He gave me a little nod. All right, here it goes. I touched a finger to his mouth. His lips were soft. Softer than they ought to be for someone with such nasty language. I parted his lips with my finger and opened his mouth. His eyes shot open. We instantly made eye contact.
You mind getting your fingers out of my mouth?
Oh, of course.
I took my finger out of his mouth and a disgusted look spread over his face. He spat and reached for his belt.
What did you do with my weapons?
Don't worry, we have them safe.
Oh, I'm not worried about them. You just know what they say. Don't let children near sharp objects and all.
I love him so much.
Especially if that pipsqueak over there has them.
Looks like his attitude wasn't injured. He sat up, but it looked like moving took a lot of effort. Right now, he doesn't seem too dangerous.
Listen, you need our help. You obviously can't leave by yourself, so just cut the attitude and let us help you. Why don't we introduce ourselves? My name's Rain, and the one with the light hair over there is Fawn.
And I'm the king of Aurelia Cavella.
Nice to meet you.
Fine. Leos. You should have just left me where you found me. Can't think of anything worse than being indebted to someone like you.
Stop being so unappreciative. We could still leave you here.
Fawn walked back over from the river. He gathered some water to clean. How did you pronounce it again? Leos? Because I was saying Leos when I was playing the demo without the voices. Leos? Okay. Leos's wounds.
This might sting a little.
Ouch!
I mean, he told you.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. It serves him right.
I chuckled quietly. That's what you get for being nasty. While Fawn was busy, we had a moment of silence. Finally, a chance to ask some questions.
So, what exactly is going on? Did you burn Fawn's house down? Were you with the other two?
He watched me with narrowed eyes, probably deciding if he even wanted to bother answering my questions. Eventually, he just sighed.
No point in keeping it secret now. If I go back, they'll just get rid of me anyway. I know they'll look for any excuse. Someone hired me to track you down, and paid well for it, too.
And the other two. The fire.
Yes, I was with the other two, but they were idiots anyway. I'm sure they're burning in hell by now.
I mean, they certainly burned.
You can blame them for the fire. I wouldn't do something so showy.
Someone hired you to track me down? Why? Now you're going to stay quiet?
Sorry, I was just admiring how dense you are. To kill you, obviously.
Obviously.
I didn't know about the other kid, though.
He glanced at Fawn.
What? Why would anyone?
No clue. I just follow orders.
I felt sick. Who would do that to me?
But in the town square.
Whoa, you're not a total airhead after all. I'm amazed. The only instructions I received were to follow you and direct you to the archives somehow. Not the kind of job I'm used to. Any sane person that wanted you dead would have had me assassinate you in your sleep, but money's money. Not my job to ask questions. I thought it would have been more work, but you took the bait easily. You should learn not to trust people.
But I was thrown out because of that. Because of you!
You were thrown out because you're so gullible. That has nothing to do with me. Maybe you shouldn't believe everything you're told, huh? Anyway, you can blame whoever employed me. I'm not taking the blame for that one.
Then, what do you know about my markings? You said you recognized them.
Absolutely nothing. I just repeated what I was told to say. How am I meant to see something your sleeve is covering? Idiot.
Yeah, idiot. My face flared up. I really do feel like an idiot. Whoever hired him was one who knew about my markings. Then I have two leads. Prince Caspian and Laos's employer. Neither would be easy to find. It's not exactly like I can try Yeeps back home to question them. And what about the prince? Is he even alive? I've never heard about him from anyone. Fawn watched me with worried eyes, but he still went about cleaning Laos's cuts. Before I could ask anything else, he cut back into the conversation.
I've cleaned up your wounds as best I can, but
He glanced at Laos's mouth.
I think some of them may be beyond us. We need to get help from a healer or a doctor.
He ain't coming anywhere near that mouth. Boy.
How? If either of us enter Aurelia Cavella, we'll be toast.
Well, if we go east, through the forest, we'll eventually get to Stagwitch. Sidcaeum is past that, but it's pretty far away.
His name's again. What is he talking about?
Fawn, I didn't want to say anything before, but maybe you're a little confused from being out here so long. Aurelia Cavella is the only place nearby. Well, the only place full stop. The rest of the world is just forest. You should know that.
You keep saying things like that. Is that really what they told you?
He had a sad look in his eyes.
I'm not sure what they taught you in your hometown, but there's an entire world out here. Cities, villages, nations, people. I've never even heard of Aurelia Cavella.
What do you mean? You've never been there?
I don't think so. It's kind of strange. I remember following the river at one point, but there was a dense fog, and I'd find myself back at my house. I'm starting to believe there's not a village there at all.
I want to know who in Aurelia Cavella has magic, because the only one that we know who could potentially is the speaker. But we don't really know the full extent of his powers, right? Like, we know that he can supposedly tell people's futures, and assign them judgments. But what else can he do? What is this fog about?
Of course there is.
You keep some, interesting company. A crazy, delusional wild forest boy, some kind of cross between a mouse and a fairy.
I'm not crazy. I can't believe that a place with those kinds of teachings could possibly exist.
My book does say something about Sidcaeum, but I don't know. Something strange is going on.
You two might not believe me yet, but like you said, you can't return home, and you need help. You'll just have to trust me this time. I can show you to the edge of the forest, and the two of you can go down and find help. And then I'll try to rebuild, I guess.
No, you're coming with us, Fawn. There is no choice. And he puts it like that. There's really not a lot of options. We can't go back, and staying here isn't really an option either. If we just play along, he'll eventually work out that no matter how far we walk, we're not going to get anywhere. I guess that being as far away from here as possible would probably be in our favor too.
Okay. I trust you, Fawn. We'll go with you.
He beamed at me. Seems like that was the correct answer.
I don't get a say in this?
No.
Nope.
So, we follow the crazy man out into the middle of the forest. Sounds like an amazing plan, and one that definitely won't end in murder.
That's funny, coming from you.
Really though, Leos looked kind of delicate up close. A pained expression, dark eyelashes, a slim face.
Hey, up close you aren't so bad looking.
That shut him up.
Actually, I wanted to ask, what exactly does that make you then? Why do they hire you?
An assassin, a mercenary, now whatever I'm paid enough to be.
He looked away. Seems like he doesn't want to talk about it. I pushed on anyway.
An assassin? They actually exist? Why?
To get rid of unwanted people. Why else? And right now, you're looking very unwanted.
Thanks.
You know, bodies are being dumped out here. Do you know anything about that?
Just full of questions, aren't you?
I guess that's the end of his leniency. He answered a lot of my questions though, which is surprising.
I'm finished with your wounds now. Try not to get any more dirt in them.
And here I was, thinking of smearing mud through my cuts. Thank you for your wisdom, O gracious one. How will I ever be able to repay you?
Oh dear. Fawn looked away, embarrassed. I'm not great at dealing with people like him, but Fawn's definitely worse. I glared at him, but the cocky grin didn't leave his face.
They won't stop with just sending me. When I don't return, I'll just send someone else.
Then we need to get out of here before anyone else comes. Will you be able to walk? Do you want us to carry you again?
I'm fine on my own.
He tried to stand, but his legs were still unsteady. Finally, with only a little of our unwanted help, he stood up.
If you need to lean on my shoulder while you walk, you can. I don't mind.
I'm not sure I can bend down that far.
Fine. Don't complain when you end up needing my help.
What an asshole. Next to him, Fawn looks like a saint.
It's a bit of a walk to the forest's edge. We should leave now, before it gets too dark.
Fawn motioned in the direction that I presumed was the way we needed to go. For now, we'll follow him. Even if he might be slightly delusional, it's better than staying here. Especially now that we know that others could come after me.
Yeah. I think that's for the best.
Okay then.
Fawn looked at Leos with a concerned expression on his face. It was obvious just from the way he was standing that he was already struggling. I wonder, will he really be okay with a long walk? I want to help him, but he won't have a bar of it. He's way too stubborn. If I even try to reach out and steady him, he flings abuse at me. Whatever then, just let him struggle. If he really needs help, I want him to ask for it.
Hurry up then. Lead the way, Forest Fairy.
Forest Fairy?
Yay.
You prefer mouse, pipsqueak, runt? Glad that's settled then. Get a move on, unless you want to be caught here. It'd be a laugh watching you two defend yourselves, though. Maybe we should stick around after all.
Poor Fawn, he really can't catch a break. I looked over at him apologetically. Why is Leos' attitude so bad? I'm not holding my breath, but It'd be nice if he could even be a little bit friendly. We're doing all of this for him, anyway. The least he could do is show some gratitude.
We don't have any supplies now, either.
I didn't think about that. What do we do about food?
We'll have to find water along the way, too. I'm sure we'll stumble across some fresh water, so if we can scavenge berries or something, we should be okay.
What about shelter?
I'm not sure. Hopefully, we can find somewhere under cover.
Less talking, more moving.
Yes, your highness.
The last few hours have been extremely slow. We've walked a little more, then walked a little further. Fawn walked slightly ahead, scouting out our path and guiding us. All Leos and I could do was follow along behind him. The setting sun cast our surroundings in orange and red. For some reason, this time of day seemed the most sad. When I looked around, it didn't look any different to where we were an hour ago. Or 2 hours ago. Or 3. But obviously Fawn knew where he was going. Or where he thought he was going, anyway. He tried not to show it, but Leos must have been in a lot of pain. He didn't fall behind, but he was struggling. If I tried to help him, he'd brush me off and insult me again. After all this walking, even I felt exhausted, so I almost didn't even want to think about how Leos was feeling.
Fawn, I think Leos and I are getting a bit tired. Maybe we should start looking for somewhere to stay for the night.
See, but isn't it interesting that he calls himself Leos? I even played it back just to double check, but you just said Leos.
Fawn, I think Leos and I are getting a bit tired. Maybe we should start looking for somewhere to stay for the night.
I'm saying Leos until he says his own name again, which would be kind of weird, but you know. I'm sticking with it. He stopped in his tracks and turned to face us. Here I was, huffing and puffing, and he hadn't even broken up a sweat. He really is something else.
You might be right. It'll start getting dark soon. I'll see if I can find some place to rest. Wait here for a second.
Before I could blink, he was already halfway up a tree. He climbed it like it was natural.
What is he? Is some kind of monkey?
I thought you were going with mouse.
Do you really trust him?
I looked over at Leos, puzzled. This is the first time we've really been left alone together. Pretty awkward just being alone with someone that tried to kill you.
Why wouldn't I?
He lives out here? In the forest? By himself? He's obviously got a few screws loose as well.
He hasn't given me any reason to not trust him. He might have some crazy ideas, but he's the only reason I've survived this long. And he's not as weak as you think he is either. So yeah, I do trust him. He's more trustworthy than some assassin who goes around burning down houses, huh?
Ouch. You wound me. But that really wasn't...
Guys, I can see some kind of lake to the south of us.
Second time playing through this scene, and I still love the way that Fawn just kind of appears, slides down. Fawn popped his head out of the tree and waved to us.
All right. That sounds like where we'll be spending the night. Can you lead us there?
Of course.
His expression was bright and warm. Seeing him smile like that makes me happy for some reason. He dropped down from the tree gracefully, like a cat.
Follow me.
Like we have a choice. Ow.
I elbowed him lightly in the ribs. Hope it hurt. Oh, this might be a weird topic, but I'm kind of interested in seeing what Leos thinks. Maybe he'll know something about what Fawn said last night.
Hey, Fawn. Tell Leos about that kissing thing. And the marriage and love.
Really? Right now?
Mm-hmm. He flared up again.
Fawn told me that when you want to be with someone forever, you fall in love, get married, and kiss. Have you ever heard of that?
What are you on about?
And when you kiss, you make babies. Is that how they do it at home?
No. You don't have babies after you kiss.
Oh, then how do you have babies?
That's obvious. The speaker has something to do with it, of course.
Obviously.
No, seriously? You don't know?
I don't. They don't tell us anything about babies until after we're matched up.
When two people are in love, they, show it physically.
What the fuck is he talking about? Love?
I have no clue. He told me it's something you feel when you look at someone, but all I feel when I look at you is indifference.
Valid.
I'm flattered. All I feel when I look at you is a desire to trip you over.
That's not very nice.
How can you not know about something like love? I mean, even if you don't know about it, surely it's something you could still feel. You don't have to understand love to feel it. In fact, I think most people don't really understand love. But to not even know of the notion?
Sounds like something a crazy tree-dwelling lunatic would come up with.
I don't know, are you sure it's real?
Are you sure it's real?
Even the idiot agrees with me.
Of course I'm sure. Before I lived here, everyone around me loved each other. My family loved each other. My parents loved each other as well. It's normal to grow up surrounded by love.
His parents? Didn't he mention not knowing them? He turned his face away from us. Maybe it'd be best to leave the subject alone for now.
Ah, is this the lake?
We came out in a small clearing. Weeds and flowers grew by the edge of the lake, and frogs croaked loudly. The water was mostly still, apart from a small trickle.
Do you think the water's fresh enough for us to drink?
Who knows what kind of filth grows in a place like this?
Well, some of the water is running, so it should be safe enough to drink.
Really?
Maybe. I'd be a bit more worried if the water was completely still, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
He didn't look entirely convinced. Not many other options around for water, though.
We were lucky to find some so quickly. I wish we could take some with us, though. We still have a long walk ahead of us.
I'll appoint myself as supervisor then. Get on with it.
He plonked himself down on the grass. Typical.
I'll see if I can find anything useful.
Fawn immediately went to work searching through the surrounding bushes.
Hey, Leos. Surely you have something useful in that pack of yours.
Something very useful. Come take a look.
I leaned over and looked into his bag.
More knives? Really?
He grinned. Smug asshole.
Forget it. You're totally useless.
What's not useful about a few extra blades, huh?
Everything when we're trying to survive out here.
Rain. Use blade on animal. Food.
I can think of plenty of ways that a dagger could help you to survive.
Exactly.
What?
You're too innocent.
Ugh, how irritating. Why are we bothering to help him again? Looking pretty satisfied with himself, he watched while Fawn and I searched around the area. So, he has more daggers after all. I guess stripping him of his weapons was kind of a waste of time. Makes me feel a little bit uneasy. I don't trust him with them, not even slightly. It'd be hard to take him, too. Will he try to attack us during the night? Who knows? I wouldn't put it past him. But maybe he feels like he owes us and won't try to hurt us? Maybe. It's a really big maybe. By the way he carries himself, I can assume he knows how to use them well. I don't want to wind up on the receiving end again. When I put my hand to my throat, I could still feel a cut from earlier. It still stung, but at least it was only light. That confrontation could have ended up a lot worse. I dug around the bushes a little and checked around the perimeter. There wasn't much around. Sticks, rocks, the occasional mushroom. I found my way back over to Fawn.
Found anything?
No. I think we're too far from anywhere to find anything here.
I guess we can't take any with us then. Still, at least we can drink now. Leos, if you want a drink, you're gonna have to come get it yourself.
Aren't you supposed to be taking care of me? I mean, you want me to walk all the way over there? By myself? You two sure are useful.
He dragged himself up from the grass, biting his lip the whole time. Despite, well, his whole personality, I do feel a little sorry for him. I wish there was something I could do to help.
I'll keep an eye out for more water along the way.
Okay, thanks, Fawn.
I sat down next to the water and looked at my face. In the near still water, my reflection stared straight back at me. Ugh, I look bad. I'm filthy, covered in injuries, and I have huge bags under my eyes already. A lot has happened in the last few days, but it's no excuse to look this bad.
Are you okay? Aren't you thirsty?
No, I'm definitely thirsty. A lot's happened lately. I guess I was just trying to process some of it.
No point dwelling on it. Just accept it and move on. You're not the only one that's lost something.
Lore? I glanced over my shoulder. Both of them were behind me, watching. Leos crossed his arms over his chest, a strange look on his face. I guess both of them have lost important things, too.
Yeah, I know.
I dipped my hands into the ice-cold water. It felt fresh and cool against my sweaty skin. I quickly washed my face and had a drink. Just doing that made me feel a lot better. I should probably check my wounds while I'm at it.
Let me help.
Fawn sat down in front of me, cross-legged. Or cross-legged, I don't know. He unwound the cloth that was wrapped around my arm and inspected the wound.
It already looks a lot better. I'll just clean it up a little, then wrap it again.
He raised my chin with his fingertips and took a quick look at my throat. Looks like it was only a scratch after all.
Leos, I can check yours too, if you'd like.
I mean, Fawn also calls him Leos, so what's the possibility that he just missaid his own name when he introduced himself? With that complaint, he sat down opposite of me. With a straight look on his face, he let Fawn check and clean his wounds again. The whole time, he stared at me silently.
So, what happened to your arm? That's not an injury from today.
I looked over at Fawn the exact same moment he looked at me. What should I say? Why would he care? He shook his head at me. Maybe he thought it was best not to tell him about what happened.
I got scratched by a tree when I was walking around at night.
He didn't look convinced. Oh well, I don't have to convince him.
I know you said you didn't know anything about my markings, but have a look again. You might remember something.
I rolled up my other sleeve and showed him the black engravings running up my arm.
When you told me to go to the archives, I found a book with the same markings in it, but I have no clue what it says.
For once, Leos's face was serious as he listened to me closely.
The only thing that stood out to me was the name Caspian. I think he could have been the last of the royal family. Maybe he'd be able to read these markings.
Caspian? The last king wasn't Caspian. He never became the king.
What?
Caspian never ascended to the throne.
Still, you know about him? I've never heard a thing about him.
Well, how old are you?
I just came of age, 18.
Well, that'd be why. He wasn't around much then, if at all. He disappeared when you were just a baby. I was, well, only a kid at the time too, so I don't know too much about him. All I know is that him and his entire family were all met with untimely deaths.
They died? Did he die too?
I mean, he just said him and his entire family all met untimely deaths. So, the assumption is yes.
Who knows? They didn't find his body, but no one's seen him since either.
My heart dropped. Caspian. He's my only hope.
You don't know that, though. I survived out here. Maybe he's hiding somewhere.
No way. No one could survive out here for that long.
He looked Fawn up and down.
No one normal, anyway. Well, anyway, no one knows. And a little stranger, no one talks about it. I mean, you didn't even know he existed, right? Not that I care. It doesn't make any difference to me. Not anymore.
Anymore? Still, that's a good point. I knew that at one point we had a monarchy, a king, and a royal family. But I've never heard the details. I didn't even know when it was dismantled. Weird.
So, you're shirted.
This is a good conversation.
Are you talking to me?
Who else would I be talking to? Yes, you.
My shirt. I found it.
I lost one, very similar to that, not long ago.
I found it on the riverbank near where my house used to be.
How did you lose yours, Leos?
I was washing it in the river.
Seriously?
Oh.
And now it's night anyway.
It's starting to get pretty dark.
Today felt like a long day.
We've been talking for so long, I didn't even notice it was getting darker and darker.
We should probably get some rest.
The further we go, the colder it's going to get. It'd probably be best if we stayed near each other tonight.
He blushed again. It's kind of cute.
You two can huddle together all you want. I'll be fine by myself.
After brushing his clothes off, he quickly left to sleep somewhere out of sight. I'm really not surprised that he didn't agree, but that was still a little rude.
I'll find somewhere comfortable.
Fawn went in the opposite direction. Okay, this is our first choice where we get to choose. I mean, currently right now we are on a common route. It doesn't really matter what we do here because we're not on anybody's specific romance route. However, choices matter a little bit. I believe there's some sort of, maybe not quite affection yet, but relationship points in what you do in the common route that influences whose route you get once the common route is over. And so I'm gonna let you guys know right now, I have been thinking about this and whose route I want to do first. Of the three love interests, which do we do first? And ultimately, I think I decided that I'm going to do the one who is most interesting to me first. Then we'll go for the next one, and then finally, our third playthrough of this game, we'll do the final character, of course. And I feel like y'all know. We should go check on Leos. I'm still a little worried about Leos going off by himself with his injuries. If anything happened to him, we wouldn't find out until tomorrow morning. Plus, I almost don't want to admit it, but I'm scared. He still has those weapons on him, so I want to keep an eye on him. Or he could sneak off in the middle of the night and tell everyone where we are. Fawn should be okay, right? After glancing back towards Fawn, I followed in the direction that Leos had gone only a moment before. It took a minute to find my way over to him. He was perched by the edge of the lake upon a large rock. I tried to sneak up on him, but his eyes quickly found mine before I got too close.
And here I was, thinking I could get an evening of peace and quiet.
You are never going to know peace ever again, my dude.
Oh. Sorry, I can go back if you want.
Absolutely not.
Sit down.
Thank you.
You wouldn't want to wake up your little friend, would you?
I sat down on the other side of the rock, leaving some distance between us.
Of course not.
And then silence. Awkward.
Ugh.
God, this is awkward. Please just fall asleep quickly. I didn't think that this far through. What am I meant to say?
So, why did you come over here by yourself?
He watched me for a moment before turning his attention back to the water.
What? You want me to be all cuddly with you and your forest pal? I'm good, thanks. Does it really even matter?
I guess not. But we're all stuck out here in the same situation. Nowhere to go, no one else to rely on. We might as well try and get along, right?
Yeah.
Did you hit your head earlier, or are you actually that much of an idiot?
Both, probably.
What? Ugh!
He pushed me down hard, and my back hit the rock with a thud.
Ouch!
This is new to me, by the way, because in the demo I did Fawn, so. In an instant, he was above me, peering down into my face. The way he was looking at me, I felt like I shouldn't move an inch. No, I couldn't. It was like he'd frozen me with just a glance. I was completely cornered.
I'm sorry, but maybe you've forgotten the reason that I'm out here.
Because you really wanted to be friends.
The reason I'm stuck with the two of you fucking idiots in the first place. I'm sure you thought you'd come keep an eye on me, just in case I did something in the middle of the night, right? Are you too dumb to realize that it just puts you in more danger? Do you really think that you being here makes me less dangerous? The prey serves itself up on a silver platter.
He reached down to the pouch secured to his leg. We both knew what he had in there, the daggers that Fawn and I stupidly hadn't taken from him. He removed one from his pouch and held it above my face. He raised a brow at my silence.
Oh, so now you choose to shut up.
Okay, Princess Mononoke.
You won't do it.
Damn.
Excuse me? What makes you think you're so special? What makes you think you're so much better than the rest of the people I've killed?
He's the main character, so... There's a dangerous look in his eyes. A coldness, but also a fierceness. Passion, longing. But for what?
You won't do it.
I didn't break eye contact. I tried with all my might to hide the nervousness I felt. I thought about this a little bit before, but up close, he looked different. Softer, more delicate. Everything apart from his eyes.
And why not? It wouldn't be difficult. One smooth cut through your windpipe and you wouldn't even be able to scream. Oh, how I'd enjoy listening to you gasp and cough as the blood flows from your throat. Oh, the thought gives me great pleasure. The pipsqueak wouldn't even know what happened until he finds you face down in the lake tomorrow.
I'm yelling inside my mind. Are you kidding me?
Be my guest. Go on. Do it.
Damn, Rain. With a tilt of my head, I smiled up at him.
You would have already done it if you were going to. I'm not scared of you.
Truthfully, he terrifies me. He doesn't need to know that, though.
Whatever.
Ooh. His body disappeared from above me as he moved away. When I turned my head to check on him, I saw him lying on the rock not far from me, staring up at the sky. Instead of moving, I stayed where I'd been pushed down. For a time, the only sound was the gentle trickling of water. The adrenaline was already beginning to wear off. With everything that's happened, I couldn't help but be tired. I let out a big yawn and stretched out my arms. Wherever we're headed, I hope we can get there without any more problems.
Go to sleep, Rain.
His voice startled me, suddenly calling my name like that. I thought he was already asleep, but apparently not. He was still staring up at the star-filled sky, unmoved.
Can I ask you a question?
I can't stop you, even if I wanted to.
Do you hate me?
Excuse me?
Hate you? Why?
What am I even saying? My impression of Leos. Honestly, he seems pretty shitty, but surely there's something more to him beyond that.
You'd have to hate someone to kill them, right?
No.
No. You don't have to hate someone to kill them. You can kill without feeling anything for the other person. You can kill people that are important to you, too.
Lore?
Why would anyone do that?
Who knows? Good night.
Good night.
I closed my heavy eyelids. Unsurprisingly, it didn't take long for me to drift off. Ooh.
Truth. Find it. Judgment.
Okay.
From the gods.
Yes. Alright, and now that it is morning, I think I'm going to end this episode here. There are some new things for me this time, and as I said, we are going to be doing Leos's route, or Leos, however we want to pronounce it. I think I'm going to go with Leos moving forward, but who knows. We're going to be doing his route in this specific playthrough, though I do want to get through everybody else's route as well. From what I've heard online, I think Leos is supposed to be the, true route? Or the most canon route? You would think that it would be Fawn, because the game kind of pushes you towards Fawn in this beginning moment here, but I don't really know anything about that. He's the most interesting, I think. And we're gonna do his route, but I'm gonna end this episode here. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you're enjoying it, because I am certainly enjoying this game. And I will see you next time for some more The Divine Speaker.